new watch, new bells.
So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So listen, man, how many of y'all paid attention to the movie The Butterfly Effect? I watched it a couple of times now. I have to be honest, when I watched it, I was younger, bro. So I didn't really grasp everything that was going on. You know what I'm saying? You see Ashton Kutcher, you know him from Punk'd. You watch the movie, then you realize it's a good movie. You realize the meaning in it. I'm telling you how I got into the movie, how I was introduced to the movie, right? You realize it's a good movie. You watch it again, you start trying to figure out, like, what is this whole butterfly effect thing? You know what I'm saying? Basically, you're traveling back in time, and if you alter something in the past, it ultimately changes things in the future. Now, the whole theory of the butterfly effect is a lot more in-depth and complicated than as simple as I just tried to make it seem, right? So if you go look it up, you'll get the better meaning of it. But I'm just telling you how I was introduced to it. So this video here is pretty much, I think, a documentary of the butterfly effect. It says this video will change your life. So we're gonna check it out. Let's go.
The butterfly effect, a concept formulated by American meteorologist and mathematician Edward Norton Lorenz in the 1960s, is a theory that one small change in the starting condition of an event, such as the flutter of an innocent butterfly soaring through the sky, can have a dramatic effect on the outcome of an event, like cause a tornado on the other side of the world, or less drastic, cause a plane to experience turbulence. Edward first popularized the butterfly effect after running weather forecasts through a computer using precise variables, and realizing that just a minute alteration of any given calculation, such as wind speed, temperature, or humidity, caused a dramatic influence of the following 2 months' worth of simulated weather predictions.
See, already a lot, way more complicated than I tried to make it to be. And I wasn't even spot on, so.
But this is by no means just the case with the weather, but every single event, thought, and outcome ever to have happened. This is why you did not read the title wrong, and I did not get you with clickbait. This video will have an impact on the outcome of your life in ways you probably never thought until you learn about the butterfly effect. So how can we relate and physically see this? Well, like I said, every single event in reality is the result of a past action. But there are some examples that will reminisce with all of us, because the action started out so small, yet had such a devastating or positive outcome on all of our lives. Let's take a look at a few of those examples. World War I was an event that changed the course of all of our lives. But what if World War I never took place? Well, that in theory could be equally as damaging, because another more devastating war may have broken out. But just what if? Well, it's been theorized that if somehow a war did not happen, there of course would have been no World War II, no Hitler rising to power, no 60+ million deaths, and fast forward many years, theory suggests there would be no tension with the Middle East, no Taliban, and no Al-Qaeda, just to name a few. But many say World War I was destined to happen, and they're probably right. World War I was a combination of many things, but it can be narrowed down to one small event that, if altered, could have changed its course entirely. And that was the wrong turn and the stalling of a car. A car that was carrying the Archduke of Austria, Franz Ferdinand. You see, on the morning of June the 28th, 1914, Franz's car was attacked with a grenade, which failed to hit its target, but instead injured passengers of the car behind. Later that day, Franz wanted to visit those wounded by the blast, and whilst en route, the driver of his car made a wrong turn down a street. Standing outside a cafe on this very street was 19-year-old Serbian Gavrilo Princip, one of the men involved in the attack on Franz that morning. He spotted the car had stalled whilst trying to turn around in the road, ran over and shot Franz and his wife dead. If not for the wrong turn made by Franz's car, he would not have been shot. If he had not been shot, Austria-Hungary would not have declared war on the home country of the man who shot him, which caused Germany to declare war on Russia, followed by France and Belgium, causing the UK to declare war on Germany, starting World War I. Had Franz not been assassinated, World War I would never have happened that way. It may not have been prevented, but it certainly would have started differently, potentially changing its outcome. All because a car took a wrong turn and stalled in the middle of the road.
Basically meaning something starting so, and That's not small, but that event triggered something huge. You know what I'm saying?
Whilst on the subject of world wars, you may have heard before that one pull of the trigger could have prevented World War II and the death of over 60 million people. Henry Tandy, a British soldier, allegedly bumped into Adolf Hitler in a French village in 1918 when a wounded Hitler walked into his line of fire, but Henry decided against shooting him before a young Adolf nodded at him and walked away. Had he shot him, Adolf would not have been the driving force behind World War II, and it's anyone's guess what would have happened. World War II would have surely been different, and it may or may not have started, which may have been for better or for worse, because that would have had a knock-on effect on your ancestors, who may never have met because of the fact World War II never took place, or had a different outcome, thus resulting in you never being born. But think about this, if Henry had pulled the trigger, although a war may have started, 60 million people may not have died, so just think, out of those 60 million who died, they could have gone on to have children, some of which could have been the next Einsteins or world-changing visionaries. All because one man decided against pulling the trigger. This one is interesting and is quite popular, because if JFK had not been assassinated, who knows what the outcome that would have had on the United States. Well, what if it could be traced back to when he was around 20 years old, that if he had chose to do something different on one certain day, he would not have been killed all those years later. You see, in 1940, 23 years before he was assassinated, he had an accident whilst playing sports, which is thought to be the driving force behind his never-ending struggle with back pain. If not for the back pain, he would not have worn a back brace. If he had not been wearing a back brace on the day he was assassinated, he would have slumped or fallen after the first non-fatal shot hit him. But instead, he stayed upright because of his back brace, allowing his body to be positioned perfectly for a second shot.
I never knew that about the back brace, bro. Did anybody else know that? I never heard of that with the back brace incident. Now, this dude could be, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna have to look into that. That's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Experts have all agreed, if not for the back brace that was the result of years of lower back pain, fueled from this sporting accident many years previously, JFK would have been able to duck out the way after the first shot, and the second fatal shot wouldn't have been feasible. Take the handful of people who were late for work on the morning of 9/11, or the fact that Seth MacFarlane missed his flight because he was drunk the night before, preventing him being killed that day, which would have been the end of Family Guy, and the millions of hours spent by people watching that show would have been spent doing something else, which would have resulted in a different outcome for those people. Take Elise O'Kane, a United Airlines flight attendant who typed her flight...
Wait. Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be on that flight? And there was a few other people. Hold on, let me go back. My bad. I'm still on the volume thing. John Binderfeld, canceled reservation. Sharma Dhruv, DHRUV, canceled reservation. Bro, I would like to see them people sit down and talk about that. Like, just imagine the feeling. Like, to see the plane that you were supposed to be on, but you overslept because you was out all night drinking. The one time somebody could say alcohol saved their life, right? How many people can say alcohol saved my life? Seth MacFarlane can. Jeez.
Preventing him being killed that day, which would...
I gotta hear it again.
MacFarlane missed his flight because he was drunk the night before, preventing him
Because he was what?
Or the fact that Seth MacFarlane missed his flight because he was drunk the night before, preventing him being killed that day, which would have been the end of Family Guy, and the millions of hours spent by people watching that show would have been spent doing something else.
So if you see Seth MacFarlane drinking, don't say nothing to him. Nothing. You know what I mean? You might want to, you could suggest, they be like, man, slow down a little bit. But I get it. I get why you're allowed to drink like that and nobody else is.
Which would have resulted in a different outcome for those people. Take Elise O'Kane, a United Airlines flight attendant who typed her flight schedule incorrect into the airline's computer system before 9/11, which in turn led to her not being on her original scheduled flight 175. Take the fact the US Space Shuttle's two side thruster rockets had to be made a smaller size due to the fact they passed through many tunnels during transport. tunnels which were made 2,000 years ago and were built at the time to just fit the width of 2 horses carrying a chariot. As someone put it, one of the most complicated and groundbreaking pieces of machinery in history had to be designed to fit around a decision made 2,000 years ago. Take this and the hundreds of personal scenarios you can think of relating to events that happened in your life, and you wonder how things could have been different for better or for worse if one little piece was taken away.
My car accident that I got into. The boys were in the back, Queen was in the front. We were debating, we were in New Jersey and we were debating whether we were gonna go get pizza or whether we were gonna go down the boulevard and get a hot dog out of Journal Square. The boys said hot dog, Queen said pizza, or vice versa. No, Queen said hot dog, the boys said pizza. I went with what the boys said. Made the left turn. Somebody ran right into us, bro. Right into us. I often think about that situation, man. Had me in rehab for, you don't even know how long, bro, I was in rehab. I often think about that. What if I'd have went and got the hot dog like Queen wanted instead of going to get the pizza like the boys wanted? And I think I was going to do both. We were closer to the pizza, and then I was going to swing around and go get the hot dogs with Queen.
If my parents had never met, I would never have been born. If I was never born, the 3,200 plus years that has been spent watching my videos by millions of people, which has literally changed the outcome of the world in some way or another, would never have happened. Sure, everyone would have done other things in that time, or watched other videos, but because it would have been different, maybe less or more time spent watching, different conversations with people or different thoughts depending on which video you've watched, a different outcome would result. Now, this is a question I do often ask myself. I wonder if by someone sitting and watching one of my videos, that prevented them from maybe going outside and getting into trouble, or that maybe those 5 minutes spent watching one of my videos or anyone else's video meant they had something in common with a person that led to them dating and potentially starting a family down the line. Now, I am not the cause of that or taking any credit for a scenario like that, but we are all here to serve a purpose one way or another, and we all seem to shape each other's lives a lot more than we think. And when you learn more about this, you will soon come to realise, as I explained, why the title of this video is not clickbait.
If Will and Mary never met, Bill Gates would never have been born. If Bill was never born, he would have never started Microsoft. If Microsoft hadn't been created, I would never have started talking to my partner back in 2009. My life's path can be traced to Bill Gates' parents. That's true. Or you could play devil's advocate and say, you might have still ran into that person. You could have still possibly, if fate would have it, your paths could have still crossed. You never know.
The minutes you have spent watching this video has changed the outcome of your life, and in turn the lives of millions of others, because your actions today will be different. Some may be instant tiny things that happen today or this week, but in time, what happens today will have a snowball effect on the direction of your life, which in turn can and will have a huge effect on everyone's life around you. But what does all this mean? Well, your life is precious and is the result of billions of events that have led to your existence, and the billions more that will become your future. So go after that project you've always wanted to. Ask that person out, because 10 years down the line you may have started a family with them. And never underestimate the tiny actions you make, because they can have an enormous outcome on not only your life, but potentially the lives of so many people for years to come. So if you ever thought your life doesn't matter, believe me, it really does.
That's true, man. That's so true. I think about another significant event, man. If I had not have been paying attention to certain things my kids was doing, I'd have still been doing like interviews on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I actually switched from doing interviews to doing challenges with them on YouTube, which then led me to doing reactions. Like, it was, you know what I'm saying? I attest a lot of that to them, you know? Them watching YouTube every day led me to come home one day while I was already doing YouTube, but see them doing that and saying, hey, we could do that. Let's try it. And it led me there, which led me here, which has then snowballed into other things. You know what I'm saying? So just look at certain things that you've done in your life and see how something that started so small led to something so big, whether it be spouse related, whether it be girlfriend related, boyfriend related, whether it be job related, children related. You know what I'm saying? And then trace it back to see what it was and what did you do that back then that snowballed into something humongous today. Super, super dope video, bro. Super, super dope. The Butterfly Effect documentary, man. Truly amazing. Shout outs to y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all thought of this video, bro. Till the next reaction, I'm gone. Peace.